Yeah, going live, going live. Hey, how you doing? This is your son Sal. I'm tipping his cowboy hat to you. Mm, icky, icky, icky. Still clean out lungs, and I'm hearing the old deep green. But right at this minute, I'm at my favorite marina, right on the lake. See the lake? There's the lake. Can you see the lake? There's the lake. There's the lake. Big lake. Ooh, right. And I'm having my grilled cheese sandwich. Oh, I don't know. Having lunch. Mm, probably dinner time where you are. Well, sweetie, how you doing? Look, this like nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only got like 3 cents in my pocket, but still living like a millionaire. Shining on like a star. Just like you, baby. You are a star. Nah. So I'm writing a new novel called Cover Page, and the other night I was sitting out under the stars. It's been raining, 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 but we're having a little sunny time. We're kind of getting into the summer. Last Thursday was the 21st, the start of summer. Elena, is it non-stop sun there? Does the sun not come? I remember the sun not going down till like 3 in the morning, and then it just kind of got gray, and then at 3:30 the sun came up, and everybody was having prawns, and those little, they look like big cockroaches to me, but they were calling them something else. And uh, so uh, I used to have two dogs. I've had a zillion dogs, but my last dogs. Well, that's true. I was, but whenever I'm a tourist, I'm there for a while. I'm not there for a weekend. I'm there like for 6 months. Well, and like I told you the story, the reason I was in Sweden is my good friend tried to kill himself. I kept taking him on vacations, and I learned that you could just get on an airplane in Stockholm and go anywhere on the taxpayer's nickel. The Swedish taxpayer's nickel. Um, I think there's an in between word instead of tourist. Because every time I think of the word tourist, I think of terrorism. Before the terrorists start, the tourists first come. So I view myself more as the shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist. Hmm. So mm, whenever I have a grilled cheese, always put a tomato on the grill first, and then slip it in there. It makes it yummy. And iced coffee, ooh, it's the bomb. Mm. Anyway, my novel cover page is, everyone thinks they know what's going on. The world in front of them is what it is, but it's not, you know. And nothing we think we know, you know. So back in the day, That's like life. There is no arm rail. You got to be careful. Yes. Whee! Right off the cliff. That's life. Right off the cliff. Mm. Anyway, um, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is love's co-creation. Everything else is an illusion. So, Elena, have you gone to my xratted.blogspot.com and read any of my writings and my stories, any of my novel? I've got 26 novels. I only put one up there, and I only put up 3/4. But I'm writing a new one. I'm about at my 30th. And this one's called Cover Page. And it basically is exactly what you're talking about. What do we know most and the meaning to life, And so that's what it is. Um, why I do Dreamy Dreamland is that I want to, get everyone into state, so they can see in their Akashic record what's really going on, because in your Akashic record there are no lies. So in this story I'm writing, this novel, starts out around the ceremonial fire, and it's a beautiful evening around midnight, and the sky is full of stars. It's like Vincent van Gogh's Starry, Starry Night, and all of a sudden we and I'm very close to my animals. You can always, especially dogs. Dogs are mirrors to the individual. You see a person with a dog, you see that if the dog is cool, it's smart, it's laid back. Well, that's what the person is. If it's neurotic, crazy, upset. Well, that's what it is, right? Right now, at the school, there is two of my neighbors have dogs. Just got new dogs, and they think, they're cat people. They're not dog people. Because the dog person is the person who realizes that you need to be a clan, a pack, right? And not so much a tribe, but a pack, where it's the we and me, right? Everybody's there to help each other, right? I know that it's not about just them. Now, there usually is the alpha. It doesn't have to be male. It can be an alpha female who runs the show. Because the average dog, like the average human, lazy, just wants to. The only reason things get done is because the sociopaths are people, I gotta take care of this, I gotta do this, I gotta control. You know? Yeah, listen. Well, I try to listen. I've been a trained listener as a shrink. That's what we are. We're trained listeners. But I'm basically blind. I need like to read. I love the chat. I love to hear what you have to say. So I have to stop every now and then from my, chattering and, listen, read. And I just bought myself the strongest pair of dollar store, Dollar Tree glasses I could. And at Dollar Tree, everything is a dollar. Dollar General, and the cheapest thing there is like $5. So, that's what it is. Uh, do, 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 do. So, Good, good. That's bread. Good honey butter. Did you know one thing got this customer who's doctor, biologist, doctor, both, she got brain shocks. What's a brain shock? Boom, jakalaka, jaka, boom, jakalaka, jaka, boom, 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 boom. You mean like that? You know, like 1970s free house music. It's wrong since a long time ago. I like that. It rhymes. That's pretty much the case of the human complaint. You know, it's wrong since a long time ago, right? I'm using that, okay, Lana? I'm going to quote you. I'm going to give you a quote. This is from my good friend, Alana. It's wrong since a long time ago. Boom, jakalaka, chaka, boom, jakalaka. You know, unless you can see the love all around you, of course you're going to get depressed, you know, and the powers that shouldn't be, that's all, you know, everything in the media. I mean, look at, you know, people should be jumping up with joy that Donald Trump didn't start the next Third World War. You know, go watch a guy on YouTube called Jimmy Dore. And here he is, a loser comic. You know, for 20 years, he's been performing in low rent strip mall comic clubs. And RT had this bunch of guys and gals called the Young Turks. And they brought Jimmy in as their comic relief. And little do they know, he would end up being the singular most righteous news source in the United States. No, in the West. Okay? And what's interesting is, like, you know who stopped the war was Tucker Carlson. That's one person that Donnie watches on Fox. He was going on about, ooh, don't go to war. And so he called him up, and Tucker said, hey, Mr. President, don't do this. And ooh. And that's what that got us not in war. Thank you, Tucker Carlson. So, I was going to, you know, play a Jimmy Dore on my phone like I do. Put it up there. Yeah. All right. And you know who? There's a guy in Boston who worked for the CIA and the Tavistock Institute. And in the 40s and 50s, was experimenting. And he brought in Nazis from Operation Paperclip, you know, to play with, you know, the Nazis were playing with people's brains. Actually, you know, they didn't have enough sick fucks to kill everyone. So the first thing they did was put everyone on speed. What do you think everybody, you know, Adolf and all his boys were on drugs? You know, look at the big blimp, the guy head of the Air Force, he was stone cold. You know, heroin, meth, you name it, he was on it. All the rest of those clouds were, you know, all his inner circle, because there was a hidden hand that was controlling them, and they controlled them with drugs. They invented a drug called aldalphamine because there weren't enough people to push people into the ovens, right? There weren't enough sociopaths or psychopaths. So aldalphamine was a drug that didn't get you stoned, but if you didn't get you shot, you would be climbing the walls. And the other thing about it, aldalphamine is a opiate, a synthetic opiate, that once it gets to the brain receptors, you are addicted forever. A little more coffee, princess. And, and so, guess what L-dopamine became? Methadone. And there was, up until the Vietnam War, there was no real. I mean, I grew up in Harlem. There were no drugs there. I mean, some jazz musicians were smoking herb, but that's about it. People were drinking rum. That's about it. Alcohol was more than enough for most people, and so people came back. What was the Vietnam War about? It was about three things: tourism, oil, and opium. Thank you, Princess. And throw a little in there. Fill that up. So that's my reserve. Keep going, keep going. That way I don't have to bother you.
Oh, you're fine. You
Okay.
don't bother me.
I'm glad.
There you go.
Thank you, Princess. She's so sweet. And so the Golden Triangle of Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam was where all the English and well, really the French was growing all their opium. First, England grew opium in India in the 18th century and tried to foster it on the Chinese. The Opium War wasn't China trying to get us. No, it was England getting opium into China because India wanted their gold and all their other stuff, just like today, and they didn't want to give them anything for it. So, in the United States, we give them toilet paper called Treasury deposit notes. Oh, I do. Alienist. Is that on? Is that a TV show or? Because there was a show kind of like that about this guy he was kind of like me, but he was more of a showman. He was, he was younger, handsomer, and he pretended to be a psychic. There's no such thing. I mean, there are psychics, but they are evolved people. They don't tell them the other people that they're psychics. Because as Young said, we're all in a collective consciousness, so we're all connected. If we just, as Lana said, just listen, we would hear it all, right? And that woman who got the block, she was probably listening in, and they didn't like that, right? Anyway, so my new novel, um, is about an event that occurred, about 2014, 2013, maybe even 2011. I was at the height of my, swimming in the swimming pool, the corporate swimming pool of moose, and my dogs. We were a team. Bella, mama dog, and Homie, her son. And Bella I found Bella. I was doing a demographic study in right on the border of North Carolina and Georgia, up near Cherokee, on 19. And I was going down 19, and I got off on some back road, and that whole area, Chucky, and all these other rivers that come from Mount Mitchell going west, basically feed that whole basin there of water. Very, very wet. And the TVA has all of these because it rains and rains and rains, and it rushes down the thing. So they don't have the space to put gigantic lakes like this. This is a TVA lake. So what they do is have these little lakes that the water comes in, and they pump it up to big tanks and other smaller lakes. And then when they need it, they let the water fall and get hydropower that way, on demand. Now you can have hydropower on demand when you have a gigantic lake like this that has a coast of 1,200 miles. It has 18 trillion gallons of water there. So, can't beat iced coffee. I love that stuff. So, I was traveling around up there and looking at flood gauges and water gauges and seeing the utilization of that hydropower and how it could be transmitted better and more efficient. And I would be hired to do this, but it was just a scam because I saw that there were studies that I was doing that went all the way back to the 1890s, and they kept saying the same thing. Well, if we just balance the load, we'd almost not have to. If we'd only use 220, if we'd only, all of Europe uses 220 volts. We in America use 110. Why is that? Because we want to waste as much, because Mr. Morgan wanted to charge as much. So when you have an efficient system, like you have a 100-watt light bulb, right? And you burn it at 110, you are consuming 1 amp. Amp is the measurement of work done or power consumed. Watts potential, what it's going to be using. Volts is the force. Electromagnetic force. Volts. So if you burn that 100-watt light bulb at 110 voltage, you're using 1 amp. If you burn it at 220, you're using 0.004 amps, like a tenth of the electricity. So all of Europe, which was never, as crazed wasting, they understood not, sustainability after the Romans cut down all the forests, to build ships to go attack other lands. So, anyway, I'm there in Georgia, and it's really beautiful. And there are all this rushing river, Nolichucky, right? So all the kayak or rafter kids, so they have, that's the only, they used to have coal mines here, but no, and it's too difficult, it's very mountainy, and it didn't really work. But they had all these little railroads that were quite interesting. And then in the end of the 19th century, they built all of these beautiful hotels up in the mountains that these railroads would take people, the rich people from Georgia, to get away from the heat up into the mountains. And that's what Asheville was. That's, the Biltmores and Astors built Biltmore House just for that, And all of the intelligentsia came to Asheville, from the 1890s to the Great Depression. And that was the Paris of the South. That's why Asheville was so amazingly beautiful. And then the Depression happened, and the city had just borrowed lots of money to level off the city, to put sewers and water lines and gas in, and build City County Plaza. And then the Depression happened, so they couldn't pay. The city of Asheville did not pay its debt off until 1996. So from 1929 to 1996. No banks lent them any money. There was no development, nothing. It was like that town was stuck in amber. Now, there were a number of very hinky Manhattan Project laboratories up in those mountains. And pretty much if you stuck a pin in, Oak Ridge and took a 600-mile string and did a circumference through all like Irwin, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina, a lot of things that had a lot of electricity from running water. B, had railroads and roads to transport goods and services and people, and that they were kind of out in the woods. So there were a lot of, the whole Blue Ridge Mountains are full of underground domes, deep underground military bases, right? So you come here, we can have loads of fun. And around that is a lot of aliens, a lot of things that go bump in the night. And where the deep green is, I have loads of creatures that come and visit me because, I'm open. I'm not open. I listen, I'm receptive, and I'm not scared, right? Of course, Lana, what's the story? Come on, tell us a story. I'm just rambling here. Let's hear a story. Boop, 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 boop. So it's 24 minutes and 8 seconds, and there's 3 of you watching. And I want to know Lena's story. And Lena, come on, get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. When I worked for Kia, yes, keep going. Yep, worked for IKEA. Yep, what happened? Does everyone in Sweden work in IKEA?
I'm all sweaty.
Well, I got diabetes, and you got to watch out for septic. But see, the whole thing about that is that you have to be responsible. I check my feet twice a day. When I wake up, I kind of look at every screw. I put on my glasses so I can really see. I look if there's any roughness, any sores, any redness, anything. Right? I change my socks. I wear shoes that don't rub. Right? And then when I go to sleep, I do the same thing. I really, 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 and I wash my feet, and I use, in the Dollar Tree, they have this great lavender skin softener that's really great for my feet, and it's antiseptic. It's got tea tree in it. Hey, buddy, good to see you, buddy. The one thing about being sick, it's like, out of the blue, I got this infection in my jaw. And man, dental pain, the worst. I was trying to shepherd my teeth. I only had about 16 left in my head. I was trying to make them last as long as I could. Well, man, once I got that pain and I went that day, so, well, you got this really nasty infection in your whole jaw. You might lose your whole jaw. Well, that's thanks to diabetes, neuropathy, and all the other great things I have. Well, so what do? Why you got to take those teeth out? Well, the meth dentist charged me $120 a tooth, so he took out the worst one and shot straight into that jaw this jungle juice that he had mixed up. He ended up wearing blender. What's that? Oh, that's my special jungle juice antibiotics. Killed everything in my body. And that's why all the crap that was laying in my lungs, just came out because it was like, everything that was everywhere else went, So for a month, I was in terrible shape. But one good thing about being sick, it makes you appreciate being better. So here I am, right? Lungs pretty clear. I went to see my around here doctor, and he said, "Oh, you're in pretty good shape." My blood pressure was great. My blood sugar was great. My cholesterol was great. My lungs sounded great. My teeth, my gums, I have no teeth. My gums, he said, "Oh, your gums look fine. Give it another few months, maybe you get some dentures." So anyway, that's what it's about. You have to represent yourself. An out jaw. Hey, what the jaw won. No, I won. Again, if the jaw won, I wouldn't have a jaw. So it's but that's what I'm talking about. You got to be right on top of it, ready to do what you got to do. I had to take all the teeth out, so I couldn't afford $120 a tooth. Even though when I was rich, I went to my rich dental surgeon who charged me $400 a tooth. Where did I get the other 14 teeth taken out of my head? I went to the prison dentist, where the people who are as poor as I am get to go. And they love seeing me because I go there and I read there are all these guys in orange jumpsuits who are like hunched over because their hands and legs are chained to the floor. And each one of those orange guys has a fat cop with an automatic weapon ready to blow everyone away. And I go in, hey, how you doing? And let me see your palm. And I read everyone's palm and I get everyone kumbaya, and then everyone's kind of and they loosen the chains up. So the guy said, just loosen the guy's chains. You can still keep him chained to the floor, but he doesn't have to be bent over. Let him straighten his back. They all do that. Everybody's happy. No one's grumbling. No one's ready to hit somebody. No one's ready to get shot. No one's going to die that day. And all the people in the dental hospital are like, oh, wow, now it's going to be a lot easier to work on these guys. Thank you, Al Bob. We love it when you come. So I had all 16 of my teeth ripped out of my head for $40 total for everything, the medicines, everything. And they were really nice because usually it's like that, but they charge me. So they for procedure day it's $40, but to like have a what do they call it, an observation, that's like, okay, he's being operated, we got to see him like a couple of days later to make sure it's all good. So I went in, had 4 teeth taken out, right? And I came back 3 days later for an observation. Well, they observed they had to take these 4 teeth. So they took them out. Been here too long. Buddy, looking good. Let's see, buddy. Yeah, you like that? I got that for all of 15 cents. This is making America great again. That's what it's worth. 15 cents, I got it at a by the side of the road store. They were selling fireworks, and if you bought $10 worth of fireworks, you could buy a hat for 15 cents. I don't know where they got them from. They're probably toxic waste or something, but the way they kind of glow at night. Maybe they're from a reactor. Not quite. I don't wear it too much. I only use it as a prop. I wear it, because every time I wear it in the sun, it starts to hum, and I become lighter, like I'm about to take off. What's wrong with the world? Nothing's wrong with the world, my sweet. It's the same world that's been twirling around the sun for the last billion. Yep, I was born to wear this hat. Yep, exactly. It's got my name on it right on the inside. Born for Al, Bob, And I left the tag on just like mini pearl. I went into a store. I said, show me where you have these hats. And they said, oh, we don't. And then they scanned it. And they said, this has a barcode number from 1999. I said, yeah, that's right. I'm partying like it's 1999. So anyway, ooh, look at that. 33 minutes and 33 seconds. And it's 12:46. So I will. And how's my battery doing? I've got a pretty full battery. How's my phone battery doing? Let's see. Boop, 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 whoop. Oh, 62. Okay, we're getting there. So, ooh. Oh, how many? Oh, there's 5 of you. Well, the two of my most favorites. I mean, you're all my favorites, but I love both Lena and Buddy. The only thing wrong with the world are people in her voice dictating a indoctrinated narrative more often than not. Yep. MK Ultra, baby. So that's what my new novel, Buddy, is that I go through an experience with my 2 dogs. As we're telling the story about Bella. And, my check whenever you got it. And a box for my leftovers and 2 cups to go. Yep. Good girl. And the we had a vision come from the sky, and it was love's unheard voice that came as a light, very biblical. And what it did was join Homer, Bella's son, and me together in one consciousness. I called it HBO, Homer, Bella, and Al. And we thought, not as me and Homer and Bella talking to each other like in my head, we were one entity, one experience. And what that did, we culminated in love's co-creation. We were love's co-creation. That's why love's unheard voice came to us and we were part of it. And that's what the novel is about. A true experience. Thank you, Princess.
You're welcome, my dear. My pleasure.
Yep. Yep. Could I have another one of your little to-go cups?
There you are, my dear.
No, just wait a sec.
Okay.
Know what you might do? Put some ice in that guy.
Okay.
Okay. And here is a Mr. Benjamin.
All right. Well, I will be right back.
Right, and bring a little baggie too.
Okay.
Okay, back.
All right, my dear.
Thanks,
There's
bud.
your change and there's your back.
Thanks.
You have a lovely day.
Yep.
Okay.
See you next time.
All right, I'll be here.
Two, 6, 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Well, you know, my clients used to say, Al, we love you. But if there was more of you, we'd have to kill you. And others would say, Al, you're an acquired taste. Meaning, most people I make, either they love me or I make them kind of uncomfortable. Now, the smart ones who I make uncomfortable realize that, this is actually a good thing. I'm starting to realize things I haven't realized, but because this guy is making me feel uncomfortable, I'm starting to realize things that I should be realizing. He's important. I'll pay him more. He actually likes me, so why should I really get upset with this guy? He's only trying to do the right thing. Now the petty bureaucrat, different story. So they're the ones I love to drive insane. When they take these petty rules they have, and you know, I'm trying to, always get some kind of assistance to stay alive within our system that is broken. So they, the first thing they do to try and get you, to separate you from the people who need to be separated is that they fill out this form. They hand you like a clipboard with like 40 pages. Well, I know by law that they that pay the bureaucrat, if I am, you know, like right now I take these off, I can't say anything. I mean, I see a kind of gray blur there, but so I said, well, you're gonna have to help me. I can't really read. What do you mean you can't read? I said, well, I can read, but I can't. My eyes, neuropathetic eyes, that you're supposed to be helping me with, that you're supposed to understand because you're supposed to be a bureaucrat, supposed to be a professional, supposed to be the right person for this job. You mean people may not know that you're not the right person for the job, that you're incompetent, that you're unable to do your job, so you might lose this job, you might end up like me? Okay, I'll help you. So then I take the next 2.5 hours, their time, their most important time, which they would be playing Candy Crush on their phone with, and I keep asking them questions about them and the system and how it works. And can I have a copy of that? And I know every page that they make me sign, I legally have the right to have a Xerox copy of, and I also have the legal right to have Xerox copies of every document that interacts with me signing with that thing. So I end up, getting a whole book and spending 4 hours with them and driving them insane to the point where they can't even, breathe. Oh, come on, relax, come on, relax. Just relax. Just relax. Relax. Just relax. And that way I can get them to go into a hypnagogic state where I then kind of rewire their little brain so they're kinder to the next person. And a week or two later, when I have to come back and, their boss comes over, what did you do to Zelda? I said, what do you mean, what did I do to Zelda? Oh, she's such a nice, she's not the same bitch that she used to. She's nice. I don't know what did you, the last person that saw her before she started being nice was you. What did you do? I said, oh, you want to see? Here, let's go in your office. Now breathe deep and let go. And breathe deep. And so by the time I'm through, I have changed the whole bureaucratic system that I'm forced to deal with. You know? Yeah. So, and I find that kind of amuses me. You know? That's what I was sent here to do. Let's see, how are we doing for time? 44 minutes and 44 seconds. Isn't that interesting? Um, and it's 12:57, and my phone is charging. Who cares? Your blood is full of love, Lana. Let's think of your blood full of love. You are a love puppy, you know? Finally, a Swede. Yeah. Uh, oh man. Well, you got to remember, Lonnie, you're just a tourist too. Uh, you haven't been indoctrinated from birth. I think that's the real telltale sign of the Swedes and the Finns and the Norwegians is they're stamped from life. They're like cows. They got a brand. Do you like America? Why would you like America? Americans are somewhat interesting because our country is so big and so diverse. But other than that, and it's also the land. You're right. The land is beautiful. Yeah, it is. But we are doing a great job at destroying it. I mean, why I live here in the deep green? There's nobody here. You know, um, or very few, and yet I'm relatively close to. From Roanoke, I'm about a little less than 200 miles. I'm about 70 miles to Ash Pit, the hipster jungle of America. A lot of trustafarians. All these kids don't have to work a day of their life. Daddy's paying their bills. They got a trust, and you know, they got dreads, and they are. You bleed red, they bleed patchouli. You know. And when I lived in Asheville, it was really great. There was nobody there. It was like here. There was nobody here. More and more people are showing up. I mean, 20 years ago when I used to come to this restaurant, I'd be the only guy. Now they're tourists. Hey, Cheney. 50th anniversary of Apollo, maybe landing. Well, I'll tell you something, kids. Our moon is an artificial, the thing in the Death Star in Star Wars? That's our moon. That's the actual Death Star right there. It's the only moon that stays in one place. We only get to see one side of it. It doesn't go around us, doesn't twirl around, doesn't do anything except stay right there. And it was parked in that orbit, parked, right? It is and the Nazis went to the moon. Well, I should say the Vol Society, who were the precursor of the Nazis, went to the moon in 1932, and there was another crew in 1849 that were Nazis that came to America and went to California. Why do you think Lockheed and Martin, Marriott and Sperry and all of those companies are in Condell? Because that's where these Nazis went. And they developed, flying saucers, and started putting little habitats in the mountains of Area 51, right? So, and you go look at the names of all, Devil's Breach and, Whispering Monster. And, it's, anyway, again, nothing you've been told is true, you know. So my new novel is all about that. But it's from the context of my dog Bella and Homer and me being one consciousness in love with love's co-creation, where we are finally doing it. The conscious aware species is consciously co-creating with love, listening to love's unheard of voice. LUHV. Anyway, So I would suggest everyone go read my writings at xratted.blogspot.com. And I would like some feedback. If you don't want to do it here on the live chat, well, then go to my the dude awake 42 at Gmail. That's where people can get a hold of me and have a intimate one-on-one, you know. And death is nothing. It's like, Buddha said, dying is like sliding out of a tight slipper. Well, pretty much looks like, wherever you go, there you are. I mean, I travel the world and I pretty much realize wherever you go, there you are. And death's not a big deal. I've died 6 times in this life, you know, and God, I don't know, a zillion times gone into state and seen the universe as it really is. Looking at the clouds, thinking they're cotton candy. Could be. With all the crap that's sprayed into them, God knows what clouds are these days. Anyway, at 55:55, I'm going to sign off. And I wish all of you the best. And again, I urge you to go to Dreamy Dreamland's home base and go to the videos and look at all those stories and shows. I've done over 600. Holy moly, right? And start putting them down into your hard drives, on thumb drives, on CD-ROMs. Save them because there was a woman named Emily. She's on my. If you go to my, again, that toolbar, and there's like the channel, and then there's my movies or shows or whatever they call it, and then there's my playlist, right? And there was a section there. Emily, she's the illegitimate daughter of the King of England, and she was pretty cool. She had a lot of experience and stories and stuff. And somebody got rid of her. It's like no longer there. Either she took her. I couldn't see her taking everything down. She did a show a day. She was in California, had nothing else to do, had good Wi-Fi, and did a show a day. And they took her down, or she took herself down. Somebody, said either give her a lot of money or threatened her life or did something. And anyway, so let's see. Lena said, let's see, back to okay, sugar water. Okay, what do you mean by cotton candy? I think she's talking about the clouds, not just the child. Sugar water, referring to clouds, yes. Yep, my bud. Yep, my bad. I say sometimes I think people think in the middle. Okay, guess what are you saying? The big news today, refugee Mexicans and the daughter is unconscionable. Yep, but Jane, it's been going on forever. I used to be a social worker. I used to go to these conferences in the 80s. And the same thing that is going on now, being advertised by fake news, was going on then. And kids were being put in cages like dogs. And a lot of, back when I was, doing this as a, psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist and working for the city of New York for the housing authority. And I, hey, we got to send somebody to this. Nobody wanted to go to these meetings. Hey, I'll go because they were all over the place. I say things. I'm, me, buddy. I'm your Al who likes to know what's going on. So I went to all these places, and I saw that there were 1 million children being taken from the border, from cities, and they were mostly people, undocumented people. But 1 million children were being taken in the 80s. They used to put their faces on milk cartons, and then once people, the powers that shouldn't be, realized that a lot of people started to look at every other morning that have a different milk container with a different kid's face on it. So, oops, we better not do this anymore. It's like breaking through their programming to realize there are that many kids going missing, and they were going missing for a lot of reasons. Body parts, slaves, sex slaves. Experiment. You know, guinea pigs. So to think that, oh, it's only happening now, not really. It's been happening for a long time. Go read, you know, things. There's a great woman, back in the ninth century, the smartest people were women because the kings and the dukes and the earls all educated their daughters to read and write. So they would be something that another rich guy would want to marry because that was a high end skill. And so there were a lot of women who, not only learned how to read and write, but learned how to, read and write French and German and Latin and Greek and so all of those ancient texts that were written between third century and ninth century AD were written by women. And then the guys after them, oh, look at this. This is interesting. No one else has read this. I'll just say I thought this up. And so I was reading I'm cleaning out my little cabin, and under a bunch of books that are like soggy, and I'm reading this book about great inventors and scientists. And they don't mention half the people who should be mentioned. And same thing with philosophers. All the great philosophers in this great philosopher book that went from Plato to the 1920s, there wasn't a single woman, not a single. Uh, Lena, I love you, baby. You too, buddy. Janie, come and visit. I'd love some company. Okay, we get to 57:57, and I'm going to say I love you all, and maybe I'll see you in a little bit. I'm on to my next place and see if I stop at a place that has Wi-Fi. I'll jump back on, but I'm being eyed, and they keep knocking me off here. The managers are hitting Wi-Fi button. Anyway, it's the usual message. Okay, catch you later. I love you guys. Stay tuned. Get other people to watch. I'm right at that 299 moment.